Republican Congressman Kevin Brady from Texas. He's the ranking member of the House Ways and Means Committee. Kevin, Congressman, good to see you. I imagine you just voted. I imagine your vote was no. Okay.
Yeah, it was an absolute no. But Sean, you know this feeling. But as I was walking off the floor, House Democrats were gathering en masse to celebrate all these higher taxes, all this government price setting, none of which, by the way, is going to lower inflation, lower the budget deficit, or lower global temperatures for the most part over the next century. So they're celebrating, I think, prematurely.
Yeah, you know, Kevin, we're looking at the House floor vote right now. You don't see any Democrats voting no. And what I'm interested, you're a Texas congressman, and the fact that you don't have any Texas Democrats voting no when there's substantial new taxes on oil and gas in this bill. How does that play in Texas?
Yeah. No, Sean, it doesn't play well at all. There's $350 billion plus some of higher taxes. They land principally on made in America manufacturing, including energy, as you point out, in a big way. That's why all of our independent oil and gas and other companies in Texas are opposing this bill. You've got $50 billion of taxes on small businesses at exactly the wrong time. And then you've got about $74 billion on companies that are sort of reinvesting in their stock, which really helps seniors and savers who rely on that value. So none of this is playing well in Texas. And I'm kind of surprised vulnerable Democrats are walking the plank on this.
So, you know, the White House has promised that this bill will not raise taxes on anybody who makes under $400,000 a year. Well, we just had a report that, you know, when you look at the audits that are going to come from this massive new buildup in the IRS, it's going to hit people who make under $400,000 a year. And per my last questions, if you're going to increase taxes on oil and gas, that's going to get passed through to the end consumer. And so when you go to the gas pump or pay your energy bill for your house, you're going to pay more in taxes. Is this a blatant lie from the White House?
Unfortunately, it is. They keep repeating it, hoping people will buy it. But yeah, they actually raise taxes. In fact, if you're an American worker making $75,000 a year, you're 4 times more likely to see a tax hike from this bill than any tax relief at all. So you're hitting middle-class families directly. Second, as you pointed out, higher energy prices as well. By the way, a lot of those small businesses, you know, are individuals. They pay taxes just like you and I would. They're going to see tax hikes for sure. And then finally, your point, you know, you're going to see 710,000 additional audits on families. I call them Walmart shoppers or value shoppers because you know who they are. They're living paycheck to paycheck. They're getting crushed with inflation, fuel just driving the store. So they're going to see a huge amount of money. And this morning, the Congressional Budget Office sort of debunked the Democrats' claim that there'll be no new IRS agents and no new taxes from middle-class, lower-income families, making clear they're going to raise tens of billions of dollars from them.
You know, Kevin, I am a Walmart shopper myself and proud of it.
Me too. I know. Me too.
But you know, what gets me is, you know, when we look at inflation, I think if we're fair, we'd say, yeah, some of that inflation came from COVID and supply chain issues. We have issues coming from the loose monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. But it's also come from massive spending. You know, you had $1.1 trillion in an infrastructure package, $1.9 trillion for COVID. You had a $250 billion package for chips, and now you have this $700 billion bill. I mean, as you look at this from your vantage point, all of this spending can't reduce inflation. It has to be driving inflation, right?
Yeah, no, it does. Look, common sense matters here. One, the tax hikes themselves are going to be passed down both to workers and to customers in higher prices. Secondly, the spending is going to fuel more inflation going forward. I think that's why, and then the Obamacare subsidies are so lavish, Sean, that about 500,000 Americans will get better health care jobless and at home than reconnecting work, all of which drives inflation higher and longer as well. That's why I think the University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School of Business, their analysis says this actually increases inflation slightly over the next couple of years and then has no impact after 2028 as well. So that's why I think the whole this reduces inflation thing is going to come back to bite Democrats.
Well, you know, Kevin, we just had the screen up there with the vote tally. It looks like Democrats are over the threshold. They have 220 votes.
Yeah.
So they've got the votes for this bill. And by the way, I think you know this as well. Democrats are going to be held to account for this massive spending and implementing policies that Americans don't care about. Americans want Democrats and Republicans to address inflation, gas prices, the border, crime. They don't want 87,000 new IRS agents on the beat coming after them. That's not what they care about. Maybe put 87,000 new cops on the street to keep them safe, but not IRS agents. They give you 15
exactly
seconds
right.
more. Yeah, you close it out, Kevin.
No. Yeah, look, and you got $250 billion in giveaway, like literally government checks to the wealthy investors in the biggest corporations in America. A single mom is going to send her tax check to the wealthiest individuals in America. It makes no sense.
Kevin Brady, a great American from a great state, second after Wisconsin. Good to see you.
Thanks, Sean.
Thanks. All right,
Take
next.
care.